Hey you and welcome, my name is Mike, and in this old video we're talking about cultural exchanges and that sort of thing. You know, meeting people from different parts of the world and exchanging ideas, food, knowledge. Well, this whole story started out as sort of one of them cultural exchanges, but they ended up exchanging a lot, and a lot more than that, let me tell you. This story has it all. You got affairs, you got fetish sites, you got luring, you got Brazilians. What more do you need? But before we get into it, please subscribe to see new videos every single week now. Let's give it a go. To Virginia we go, a town, if you can believe it, by the name of Herndon. It lies close to Dulles Airport to the west of Washington, D.C., and to this day it is home to about 24,000 people. It's a picturesque place with its buildings and trees and other yokes. You know, life moves a little slower out there in a place like Herndon, you know, with its picturesques and its charms. It's a very appealing place for a double murderer. Though that probably wasn't, like, you know, their dream or whatever. But they made it their reality. The inciting incident of this story took place on the morning of February 24th, 2023, which was a Friday. In a nice big house on Stablebrook Way, an upper-class neighbourhood in South Herndon, this 911 call was made around 7:47 a.m.
Fairfax County 911, where's your emergency? Hello, Fairfax County 911.
As you can hear, not much is audible other than, sort of just moaning. Then the call ended. A second call, though, would be made around 15 minutes later. Once again, not much more audible than a woman seemingly groaning and moaning. She sounded like she was too upset to even give the address of, you know, where she needed emergency services to haul ass to. That was, though, until a male voice, took over the line and he gave the 911 operator the address. And he was telling the operator he had just shot a man dead after this man had stabbed his wife to death. So police arrived swiftly to the house, and at the scene, well, listen up, it would later be described as appalling. It was brutal.
Hey, Paul, or Jose, you got that. You got that. I need you to watch out for that.
There's a dog back there.
So somebody's outside.
Someone's outside in the back?
In the back?
There's a dog in the back there.
Anyone else outside?
Huh?
Who else is outside?
Nobody's outside.
Anybody over here?
My room. And here.
Here, Ben, stay here. Ben,
Hey,
stay right here.
who is the shooter?
Who shot who?
Brendan, he's an officer.
I got a blowout kit if you need it.
Bring it up.
Is there anyone else in the house? Any kids in the house? Oh God.
Yeah. I'll hold down here.
Okay.
Bring her down here, and we can get info directly from her.
Hey, help me.
Nancy, can you come down with me?
Anybody else have a blowout kit? She's breathing. She's got a lot of stab wounds.
I think Zach just said
My
We're getting the
host
ambulance
kid-
here now.
My host kid is downstairs.
Okay.
I'm in here.
How old's your host kid?
She's 4.5.
Four and a half. Where is she?
I need to talk to her. She doesn't know anything. What's
Can we get her and we'll go outside?
I'm gonna get her.
Where do we look?
She's grabbing their 4-year-old. We're gonna go outside.
Okay.
Just please.
It's okay. Yeah.
She's just 4.5.
I know this is hard. Let's get her outside, and then I need to get some information from you.
In this house were 5 people, 2 of them dead. But though one person was butchered, it might be a better way of putting it. And sure, you know yourself, like, this isn't the kind of place where this sort of carries out. In the home was Brendan Banfield and his wife Christine, their 4-year-old daughter, their au pair, Juliana Peres Magalhaes, and another man, Jospeh Ryan. It was Christine Banfield and Jospeh Ryan who lay dead on the floor. Christine had been viciously stabbed to death. Jospeh Ryan had been shot twice and killed.
It's okay. Just breathe, okay? Here, let's go out this way. So, Hey, do you want to hang out with that officer right there?
Fly back around front corner.
To take over? Good. Still breathing.
Fine?
Still breathing.
Still breathing?
Hey,
Do you want me to put her to watch a show or something?
if you just want to tell me quickly what happened,
I don't really know what happened. Everything happened too fast.
So who, what, why, and I have a lot more questions. Well, I hear you're barking, big dog. Let's find out together. The home at 13230 Stablebrook Way in well-to-do Herndon was owned by Brendan and Christine Banfield, 39 and 37 respectively, and together they had a 4-year-old daughter named Valerie. Christine, she worked as a pediatric ICU nurse and was well known as a devoted mother and a very neighbourly sort who'd be really involved in playdates and local moms, all that sort of jazz. She would be the type of mom who would organise, events in the neighbourhood for all the kids to partake in. Before she was a Banfield, she was a Benson from Ronkonkoma, Long Island. New Yorker born and bred. She had started working at the Fairfax Women and Children's Hospital in 2019, and from her social media, it seems like she was just very devoted to her daughter and her husband, with whom she'd been married for about 10 years. Her husband, Brendan, he worked for the IRS, which means I don't like him already, and I haven't even gotten to the fact that he's a Cowboys fan, or to, no spoilers, but the rest of the story. He'd been an employee for the IRS since about 2009, but lately he'd been working in their criminal investigations department, which, hey, that's how they got Al Capone. It was him taking that position that led to the family to move from New York to Herndon, just outside Big Washy, DC. Neighbors would say, happy, classic, all-American family. So what led to Christine being stabbed to death in her home, and Jospeh Ryan, a seemingly a stranger, being shot to death in their home? That was what the investigators were, of course, extremely curious about, and so they began their questioning with Juliana Peres Magalhaes, the family's au pair. Juliana was originally from Sao Paulo, Brazil, and she had long dreamed of coming to America. She was the daughter of a single mom, and she had always dreamed of a better life. And so she went to Culture Care Au Pair, an agency, and that's where she found the posting from the Banfields, who were looking for help as they worked quite a bit. Juliana would move in with them, sleep in their home, and take care of their little one, and she made the move from Brazil to Virginia in 2021. And so you had this 21-year-old, Brazilian au pair nanny, moving to this upper-class home in this extremely wealthy suburb just outside the nation's capital. Doesn't get any better than that. For Juliana, this was, a dream come true, and the family were, by all accounts, very, very sweet, very nice, loving family, very, sweet to her. Christine was someone who was always in favor of au pairs, posting about it on social media, that they should be given visas. Juliana wasn't even their first au pair. They had previously had one named Amanda, who was also from Brazil, who they were very close with.
We begin tonight in Fairfax County, where a woman was stabbed to death and a man was shot and killed in a Herndon home.
Right now, police still have the street closed off. The home where this happened is down at the end of a cul-de-sac, unable to be accessed by anyone right now except for law enforcement. Neighbors here in this neighborhood in Herndon tell us that they have seen this family around, walking. They are very friendly, but did not necessarily know them personally. We've seen police going in and out of the crime scene, bringing in a canine dog at one point during this investigation tonight, now more than 12 hours after this initially happened. Now, according to police, they were first alerted to this by a 911 call. It was around 7:49 this morning that the first 911 call came in. That came from this home on Stablebrook Drive. The caller hung up, though. A second 911 call came in 13 minutes later. It was the homeowner and the family's au pair on the line. The homeowner, who police have not identified at this point, said he had just shot a man who stabbed his wife. Police say the man is 39-year-old Jospeh Nathan Ryan, who was pronounced dead at the scene. Police then ID'd Christine Banfield as the homeowner's wife, who was stabbed and killed.
We know what our 911 caller, the husband, told us, but we have a lot of work to do to substantiate that claim or to otherwise identify the person responsible for that crime and both crimes.
Juliana's story of the day of, these killings was that, in the morning, she had been out the door at around 7 a.m. with the Banfields' daughter. She was taking her to the zoo. By this stage, Brendan, he had already upped and out to work because the IRS starts at the crack of dawn. Christine was still home, getting ready to start her shift later on that day.
I was going to take her to the zoo this morning.
Can you go with Officer Battani really
Why don't
quick?
you come with us?
Oh,
He has some stickers for you.
I was going to take her to the zoo this morning, and then I forgot the lunch we were going to bring. I turned around and came back here, and then,
So Juliana, she gets in the car with the 4-year-old daughter, and she's, driving down the road out of the area when she remembers she left a packed lunch in the refrigerator for herself and 4-year-old Valerie. So she spins the car around, starts driving back to Stablebrook Way. However, when she pulls, into the driveway just outside the home, she sees an unfamiliar car parked, outside their house, and she saw a strange man walk in just as she arrived. And to Juliana, she'd been living here for well over a year at this point, and she's thinking to herself, well, it's a little bit early, for the mailman or somebody. What's going on here? She felt like something suspicious was happening.
I saw this car. This is her car. That car is the person, I guess.
You don't know who that? Do you know who the person is?
I have no idea. And then I saw his car, called her to see what's going on because it's early in the morning, like, who was here? And then he was straight to voicemail. I called Brendan, it's her husband, he's up there. I called him, I see a strange car, but I don't know who is that. Can you please come here, I'm scared. I was in the car. And then...
So Juliana, she gets her cell phone, tries to call Christine, who's in the house, but no answer. Then she calls Brendan, who's at work, and Brendan says, yeah, don't like that at all. He goes home, and then Juliana waits till he arrives, and they head into the house. Juliana goes down to the basement with their 4-year-old girl, and she says she hears screaming, all sorts of commotion coming from upstairs. She said she heard what sounded like Brendan saying, "Drop the knife."
He came here, and then we went inside. The guy, I don't know who it is, he was spanking her. I was just here.
Were you here when it happened, or did you walk up in there and that's how they were?
Yeah, he went upstairs first, and then I went to see what is going on. I left the basement, and then when I went upstairs, Brendan was saying, "Police, drop the knife."
So, Brendan's a police officer.
Yeah, he's an officer.
Is he with Fairfax?
No.
Where is he an officer?
I don't know. I think it's he was officer in Vienna.
Vienna?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 second.
I'm gonna get.
Okay.
Do you need anything else right now?
Not right now. The guy who shot is they think a Vienna police officer. So we got to think about that. That car, we don't know who. That's the guy who came up here that started the issue. This car is the outside guy, the silver car.
These two.
So this is their car. That is the guy who came here.
Okay.
Juliana said she ran upstairs, and Brendan quickly told her grab the second firearm from the safe. He gave her the code. Juliana ran. She got their other gun, and then she sees in the bedroom this guy with a knife to Christine's throat. Brendan fires a shot, then Juliana fires a shot. They unload it on this sumbitch.
Yelling at each other. He was saying drop the. I'm sorry, my first language is not English.
No, you're doing really well.
He was saying drop the.
The knife or the gun?
The gun. Yeah, and Brendan said, "No, police, don't drop the knife." And he was saying, "I'm gonna kill her. And I don't know. He started stabbing her. I think Brendan shot him, and he asked me help to shot him too because.
It's okay. You don't have to get it all out right now.
I never saw her before.
You didn't see the girl before either? So the guy and the girl you don't know?
She's my boss.
Okay.
But I never seen it before. It's a lot of blood.
Okay. This mystery man, armed with a knife covered in Christine's blood, He then soon lay dead on the floor. He'd been shot 2 times, once in the head by Brendan, a second shot then to the chest, which was Juliana's shot. That was actually the kill shot that got him. Sadly, however, Christine too lay dead on the floor of her bedroom, stabbed to death. So, had this been, a home invasion or something, a robbery? Who was this guy? His name was Jospeh Ryan, 39 years of age, and not much is known about him really, other than he was an animal lover and very close with his mother. Described as an old-fashioned guy. He was also, with his friends, pretty open about his, sexual interests, and especially his fetishes, of which he had many. Mainly, Jospeh Ryan was active on the website called FetLife, where he went by the username TacoSupreme7000, which, frankly, I can't think of many names less sexy than Taco Supreme. Digging into Joseph's life, particularly his, kind of sex life, they found that on his FetLife account, about a month earlier before, his death and Christine's death, he'd begun messaging another account on the website. The account was by the name of Anastasia9. The profile picture for the account Anastasia9 that he'd been messaging for about a month leading up to this, well, the profile picture was Christine Banfield. Had Christine secretly been using a fetish website behind her husband Brendan's back? It would turn out that on the app Telegram, Joseph and Anastasia9 had been messaging each other a lot, talking about rough sex, bondage, and blood play, which involves knives. And this Anastasia woman would say, oh, she was married, but she could, fool around with whoever she wanted, whenever she wanted. Anastasia9 and Taco Supreme 7000, they even voice called at one point. Ultimately, then, they decided to meet up that February morning with Anastasia, texting Jospeh Ryan her address on Stablebrook Way. So was this some fetish roleplay gone wrong? Brendan was at work, Juliana had gone to the zoo with her daughter, Christine invites this guy over and something goes wrong? Was Christine Anastasia9? Was she Anastasia9 me arse? The police over months would learn a lot about Brendan and Juliana, including the fact that within a few days Juliana was now sleeping in the same bed as Brendan. Had been, in fact, behind Christine's back for a few months before the killings in their home. The police would learn that Brendan and Juliana had become intimate soon after she moved in. They even had little getaways, just the two of them, while Christine was none the wiser. Over time, allegedly, it appears they planned to get rid of Christine. Instead of divorcing her, of course, which is kind of the logical thing, divorce normal? No. They planned other things, included, they made quite a few trips to the gun range together before this, in the months leading up to it. Now, there's been no actual mention of it yet, but in a regular old divorce situation, you are missing out on the classics we see all the time. Classics like... They created a FetLife account using a profile photo which Christine happened to send to Brendan around the same time the account was created. So we can only imagine that was Juliana or Brendan pretending to be Christine, talking to Jospeh Ryan, even voice calling at one point. The morning of the killings, Brendan Banfield was due to be in work at around 7:30 a.m, so he left before 7. But he didn't go to work that morning at IRS HQ. He instead drove out of Stablebrook Way, drove down the road to the local McDonald's, waited in the car park, waited until Juliana called him, expecting her call. She rang him at 7:37 a.m. when she turned around and discovered some strange man going into their house. Of course, in the meantime, Joseph turned up to the home for his prearranged meeting with Anastasia9. Then Juliana and Brendan, they go home and shots are fired. What exactly happened inside the house that day, we don't know. Joseph, he would end up being shot twice. Once in the eye by Brendan and once in the chest by Juliana, which was the killing blow. So it seems like, allegedly, again, of course, that they lured him over there, pretending there was into some kind of rough bondage blood play thing, lured him over there, killed him to frame him for murdering Christine. After all, why did Brendan tell Juliana to get a second gun when he already had his sights on Jospeh Ryan, who allegedly had a knife to Christine's throat? The question that remains though is, well, who actually killed Christine Banfield? Had Joseph in some kind of like fetish foreplay? He assumed this is what she wanted. Christine, of course, in her home. She would have been fearful. She would have no clue who Jospeh Ryan is. Just this mystery man comes in. Did he bring a knife with him? Did Brendan or Juliana kill Christine and then plant and move around evidence, to make it look like Jospeh Ryan had killed her? After all, there was the first 911 call, then there was a 15-minute period before the second 911 call was placed, which is like, that's a hell of a long time to get your story straight and move things around to make them look like what they ain't. Christine and Joseph would have been in the house together having no clue what was actually happening. Within 8 days of the two killing, both Brendan and Juliana got new phones, a new iCloud account, and she moved into the bedroom, even with this little framed photo on the bedside locker. That lasted for 8 months, until October 2023, when Juliana was arrested and charged with the murder of Jospeh Ryan. Prosecutors alleged the pair were planning on fleeing the country, with Brendan driving Juliana to the consulate to get her a new passport. Then, almost a year later, in September 2024, Brendan Banfield was arrested, charged with the same, and also with Christine Banfield's murder. He's actually charged with 4 counts of aggravated murder, even though 2 people were, murdered. But it's just the crime was so horrific, they were lay it on him.
39-year-old Brendan Banfield taken away in handcuffs. It's an image Police Chief Kevin Davis says was a long time coming.
I suspected, I had a feeling that there was a lot more to what met the eye that morning.
The morning of February 24th, 2023, when Christine Banfield was found stabbed to death, alongside Jospeh Ryan, who was shot and killed inside the Banfields' Reston home.
Probably a day hasn't gone by that I haven't thought about the victims in this case.
See, the reason Christine didn't answer her phone that morning was that Brendan had turned it off and hidden it before he left. Brendan, it appears, shot Joseph as soon as he entered the home, shot him in the head. Then he told Juliana to get the second gun, which she did. She came back in, saw him still moaning after having been shot once, and then shot him herself. Police believe that Brendan was the one who stabbed Christine to death. Perhaps Juliana stabbed her too. The first 911 call, that was made accidentally. Brendan didn't have the scene the way he wanted it, hence the 15-minute wait till the next 911 call. The plan to kill Christine was allegedly in motion since autumn 2023, so for about 3 or 4 months. Apparently Juliana did try to back out of the murder plot at times, but Brendan said he wasn't having it. It's too late. This murder train already left the station. In October 2024, however, after a lot of emails to her mom back in Brazil about how sick she was of the jail, Juliana agreed to a plea deal, if you can believe that. She pleaded guilty to manslaughter in the death of Jospeh Ryan, so her charges were downgraded. In fact, if Juliana Peres Magalhaes continues to cooperate with the authorities in the case against Brendan Banfield, as she's been doing so far, she likely will do 0 jail time whatsoever. Sure, isn't that just great for her? She will be sentenced in March, and Brendan Banfield, he was arrested in September 2024. Under every single questioning he has been, given, he has pleaded the fifth. He has said nothing about anything. So who knows when his trial will actually go ahead. But, if Juliana cooperates, woo! Not good for him. And Sinead, that is the case of the au pair murders to date. As I said, no news on a trial for Brendan, likely will be a while, and Juliana will testify against him, it appears, so she can be free herself. One of the worst things about these kind of cases are, of course, the kids that are left behind. Their 4-year-old daughter, with a mom taken from her, and a dad who took himself away by choosing to commit murder. Likely he, Brendan Banfield, masterminded the entire thing so he could run away with his younger Brazilian girlfriend. Masterminded the murder of his own wife, created this fetish life account, allegedly of course, created this fetish life account under the brilliant bright spark idea of using this to lure somebody into the house who they could kill and then make it look... Folks, this is batshit bananas, this one. And it would be sad if it wasn't so tragic. And I mean sad, when I say sad, I mean loser sad for Brendan, who seems like he's having some midlife crisis or something. Buy a Ferrari, Don't murder your wife and some random guy off the internet. Likely we'll get a lot more answers to all the questions we have about this case when it goes forward and Juliana herself testifies. But until then, keep an eye on your au pairs, on your husbands, on your wives, and also, of course, on your fetish sites, I guess, because why not? Thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me that you're here watching this whole video. Hope you enjoyed it. Next old video will be up in a couple of days, so look forward to that. But until then, please take care of each other and please take care of yourselves. And check out That Chapter podcast, because I love you. Mike out.